Hello, everyone. Welcome to Natty News, the nattiest news show in the world. And today we are joined with a fantastic guest, the legend from Toronto himself, the head of the Wolf Pack, Timbahwolf, aka Kane. Man, we are so excited to have Kane on. Kane has been a huge influence for both Pat and I, probably the greatest pull-upper who have ever existed. And man, just super excited to hear some of his great Instagram live wisdom, some of his training mythology, and just a lot of good stuff. And especially getting to some of the art stuff too about his painting and recreational drug use. Oh man.
Actually, I just want to, before I forget, just recently, it's legal. When did it become legal in Canada?
I think 2018.
Yeah, but so I was going to the gym and I had like the vape pen and smoking, and then I was crossing a street and there was like two cops at the end, at the corner, and I didn't want to blow into their face, like it's legal, but I'm still respectful. So like I was like holding it in, and when I walked by them, one of the cops recognized me and said Timbahwolf, and right there, puff.
Yeah. Yo, that's so cool.
That was just maybe 2 weeks ago or something like that. But it's pretty fun.
Oh man. Kane, I think the first thing actually is I know recently you actually came by Vancouver, which is where me and Pat are located. So first and foremost, how was your trip, man? How did the West Coast treat you? The weed capital of North America. How were we to you?
I loved it. I mean, I'm actually planning to go back end of September or sooner, but yeah, that was the first time I've been there in 40 years.
Oh
Yeah, I think
wow.
I was,
Whoa, really?
1980 was the last time I was there. So yeah.
Damn. Wow, and you're gonna be back again, so I'm sure you liked it a lot.
Oh, I loved it. I mean, I enjoyed walking to Stanley Park, like from my hotel. Just I walked more when I was in Vancouver than I do usually. So it was really good. It was yeah. Um, and then my nephews, I I thought I was being not responsible, but I when I was there, I took acid, and I had my nephews be my sitter. My nephew, and he's 23 years old. Him and his friend, and they took me to the nude beach.
Yeah, the
Oh
wreck
man.
beach.
Like, I mean, it's clothing optional, so I still had my shorts on, but I was like, I was tripping, and yeah, yeah, and I got sunburnt, so it was, it was good. I love Vancouver, but yeah, beautiful city. How long do you guys live there? You guys born there or?
Yeah, I'm born here. Amber, you were born in the States, right?
Yeah, I was born in LA, but I've lived most of my life in Vancouver. And the nude beach, for those who aren't aware, that's actually on the university campus that me and Pat
Yeah,
went to. So I can definitely see how that could be pretty trippy when you're on acid.
yeah. I kept my eyes closed most of the time. Yeah,
Lots to see.
Yeah, especially because like people think nude beaches is just gonna be a bunch of like supermodels, but it's not. It's mostly retirees.
yeah. That's usually, remember, even a couple years ago, or maybe 10 years ago, maybe even longer, when they made being topless legal in Canada for a while, and it was always the ones that you don't want to see sticking out their, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely know what you mean by that. Um, but yeah, actually, kind of speaking about some of the past. So one of the things I'm kind of really curious about. So for those who are not aware, you are primarily a personal trainer, and so you also have a pretty considerable social media presence. But I kind of want to go from the beginning. Like, what got you first lifting? What got you first exercising? What's the origin of you and like your crazy physique, your amazing like calisthenics and pull-ups and all that stuff? Like, what started it all?
I started lifting weights. I mean, when I was like 12 years old, and I was like 1980. My dad bought, a barbell set for my oldest brother. You know those plastic ones with
Yeah.
Yeah.
concrete inside? Yeah. And he never really took to it, but I did. And just start. I was reading, looking at the posters that they put with that. It was the York one.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah. For some reason, it just like resonated with me. My father, like every morning, began. He does like push-ups, like 50 push-ups every morning. He was doing that until just probably the last few years. He's 83 now, and he was doing it, but now his like range of motion, his shoulders are bothering him. So yeah, like he still does it, but no longer on the floor, sort of like some, you know what I mean? But yeah, he's still active even now.
Man, that's insane. I saw actually a photo of you showing your parents, and your dad does not look 83. Like, I would guess he's like 50 or 60. Like, the guy is in incredible shape.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I've been fortunate that they're still around.
Awesome. Part of it is like I think the hard work that goes into it too, right? When you work hard and you work hard to keep healthy, that's doing a lot to not just keep them around, but have them be in great shape. That's awesome.
There's genetics too. Like my mom, um, she's 87, and now it's only now there's supposedly signs of dementia, supposedly. But I mean, she still has her sense of humor or whatever. Like she'll forget things, but you know, um, she like growing up, we didn't eat vegetables like that. Even now, I still don't. My mom, whenever we visit, like my girlfriend and I, she'll always, when my girlfriend says, she looks great, and my mom will say her secret is, she doesn't eat vegetables. Like he's joking about, but yeah, she really, because I guess I don't know why she has that impression, but maybe vegetables were. I think my mom's like a princess, you know, uh, and I think vegetables were cheaper in the Philippines, or like, so for her, vegetables are for the, like she associated with the poor,
Okay.
So it's all just like, yeah, something along those lines. So I mean, yeah, and I still do, like I eat Popeyes like 4 6 days a week. So yeah, I don't eat vegetables either.
Well, I
Yeah, I
mean,
think we've seen that.
well, I think you might have seen that the carnivore diet is getting a lot more popular, so maybe your mom was just way ahead of the game. Maybe she
Well,
knew a secret.
I'm not into that. I've heard like there's pros and cons to it, right? Even with a carnivore, I you know I like my carbs, but yeah, I don't know if I would. The first diet I ever followed was actually a keto diet, like Atkins, back in 1998. That was like the
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
Yeah.
Man, keto's kind of miserable. I saw you in Vancouver eating some of the Taiwanese desserts. It's a much better life with some carbs in it.
Oh man, yeah. And we found that place, Meat Fresh, right?
Oh,
And
Yeah.
they have it here in Toronto too.
Oh, sweet. Now,
Yeah.
now,
So,
now you're there all the time.
yeah. So my nephew and I actually, when we got back here, like a week after we went there, just to celebrate. Yeah.
Yeah.
nice, nice.
Yeah.
So,
Beautiful city, guys.
So let's go back to like what made you kind of go into personal training as a career. So you were the most jacked 12-year-old on the playground. You were just so swole and all that. All the girls was rooting for you. What decided to make your life like more evolved around fitness and made your career around that?
Oh, it was, I don't know, like it was, it's like I just fell into it. It was like the easiest thing to do. Like in 1990, one of my friends one of my first training partners, he started working for a gym, a commercial gym, and he hired me as a personal trainer. Like we were getting paid $10 an hour back then, right? And yeah, I worked there for a year, and then I went back to school. I kept going in and out of school. I kept dropping out of every school, and then I still never finished anything. Uh, and then in around 2000, I was like training my girlfriend at a gym, and this one trainer saw me and um, asked me if I wanted to like take his clients for a while because like he's getting too busy or whatever. So that's how I got into it, and then started getting my own clients. But yeah, it was all like dumb luck. Yeah, I mean, there was no, yeah. I just went path of least resistance, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Sometimes it just works that way. Pat himself, he's also a personal trainer, and I think sometimes like when it's all you do for so much of your life, it's like, you know what, why don't I make it a career?
Yeah, but there's pros and cons to it because you think like it makes sense, you're passionate about it, but you know, um, when I was bartending for like 10 years as well, from 1998 to 2008.
Oh, we didn't
But
know that.
when, yeah, at a Latin bar. But when when I quit bartending and personal training was my only gig, um, training, I still love training, but now I guess slightly better because now, you have to rely, like there's this outside uh, influence or force now on you, like, it's your career now. So you're
Yep.
making money. So you're no longer doing it just for the fun of it.
Yeah.
You know? So there's always that's the downside of making anything a career, even if you love it. Like yeah, even like right now, painting. Like I'm actually trying to transition into being the best vagina artist I can be, but same thing. Like I have to be careful. Like I think I would maintain the online training just at a minimum. Um, not too many clients, like a lot lower, and then with the paintings as well, just so that there's not too much pressure.
Nice. That's well. Yeah, I
That
think
makes
you just answered a couple. Finish? Yeah, you were saying.
no. I was just saying if that makes sense.
Oh,
I I think that makes great sense. I think you answered a couple of our questions. I was gonna kind of ask like, especially about the painting. We can kind of transition to that. Like, whether you think of it as a hobby, and it sounds like it started as a hobby, but now you're starting to think of like where you can go with it as a little bit of a business. And I'm interested to ask what drew you into painting. Like you're really good. We checked out your website. I especially like your painting of the Joaquin Phoenix Joker. And are you formally trained in any sense, or how did you get your start into that?
Uh, I took. I went to this. It's like a fine art program. Uh,
Okay.
for a few months and then dropped out. Uh, and then I went to Sheridan College for illustration for a year and then dropped out. And then I never went back after that year. And then like Oh, before that, I went to U of T, University of Toronto, for a year, but then uh, dropped out, like stopped going, and then had to spend a month in jail the following year. So I'll tell you about that if you want. And then went to that Central Tech, like they had an it's a high school, but they have a adult fine art program or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And I attended there for a few months, and then I dropped out, went to Sheridan, dropped out, and then went back to U of T. And when I was like 3 credits shy from my English lit, I dropped out.
Wow.
Yeah. So the only
Man.
the only thing I've ever finished is a bartending course and can pick pro. You know,
The hardest certification out there.
that was, you know,
No, I'm joking. I know all about it.
Yeah.
I'm yeah, I'm uneducated.
Man, well, I want to first say for those who haven't seen, your paintings are amazing. Like I showed my girlfriend your paintings, and she loves them. Like she thinks they're so great, and it honestly is amazing about how you're so like into the fitness and you're so good at that, but you also have such an amazing creative side. I think it's one of the more unique personalities out there. You're not just some like bodybuilding schmuck. But you said a lot of really, really cool stories there, and I kind of want to dig a little deeper into them. If you're cool with sharing it, I would be really curious about what caused a month in prison. How did that happen?
I worked as a doorman for, yeah,
Oh,
and I got in my first week I got 2 counts of assault.
Oh
So
man,
yeah,
first week.
yeah, and I worked there. I started there just before New Year's and worked there till September. Yeah, but yeah, I love that job actually. But at the time, you know, like yeah.
man, no, I can definitely understand. I actually did some doorman work when I was in college, and New Year's it is the worst time to work there. Like it's hard not to get a fight on New Year's Eve, so I can understand that.
Oh, you know, yeah, I was an asshole. Uh, like like I was mentioning before, my first training partner outside my brother was this guy who was a professional kickboxer. So he got me to going to Twin Dragon. This is back in the '80s, like kickboxing, and um, I like practicing on drunks. At the where I was working as a bouncer, you know. So I kept joking. I would joke with the other doorman and say, remember Bruce Lee goes, boards don't hit back or whatever. When the guy breaks it, I go, neither do drunks. I mean, they do, but not as well. So
Okay, now I'm interested to ask. Nowadays you're really into meditation and just like ways to relax. And you're a pretty methodical guy, and you like those type of pastimes. Did you have quite a different personality in your 20s and 30s when you were in that line of work and jumping in and out of school?
yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, and even now, like it's sort of I was always aggressive. I was like yeah. Uh, I joke around that working out sort of helped me become a better bully. I was a bully in grade school, yeah, but I was always like pretty aggressive, and yeah, so but 1 month in jail sort of scared me straight. Like I didn't want to, that calmed me down a lot. So yeah, but even then, that sort of like someone was recently like trying to convince me to go on TRT, and I'm not against it. All right, and hell, if I have, if I no longer enjoy painting vaginas, I would probably go on because like something must be wrong, But I'm not against it, But I was like saying, I was trying to explain to them that I would be surprised if I've actually calmed down because of like lower testosterone levels. I mean, there's, yeah, like, and I would be a bit concerned about that. Uh, that'd be one thing, the psychological. I think like when I was 4 years old, I was on one of these fitness forums, and someone I knew like was went on steroids, and I was considering it, but the thing that he said that scared me was the depression. That he was, maybe he was doing the wrong cycle. I have no idea, right? So, but yeah, so I mean, and you know, I'm attached to my hair, so that's also another reason. Like my girlfriend was like, she thought it was for some really like moral reason why I'm against like steroids or whatever. No, it was like, you know, what if what if I start losing my hair? So yeah, but
Yeah, I mean that is actually a really interesting story that you were bringing up, and I think with the TRT thing, I actually for the longest time thought you were on until on an Instagram live you talked about it, and I was just blown away because like you do not have the physique of most middle-aged people. Like what's kind of been like the key for you to keep that? Like look at like man, even right now for those who are seeing the video, like you got the bicep vein popping out, you got the triceps just bouncing out through the video. Like what's the secret, man? How do you stay in such good shape in your later years?
uh, because the staying lean sort of makes your penis look bigger.
Love it.
We've heard you say that before. It's not the first time.
But I mean, it's only like quite recently that I even like I enjoyed training. That's the main thing. I enjoyed it. Uh, I was like saying in this other Facebook group that yeah, it's like especially the last few years, like maybe my whole obsession with pull-ups, it's like being at a jungle gym, when you're like 8 years old during recess, playing, I mean, that's what it is. Like, so yeah, uh, I just enjoy being in the gym as well, so that, yeah.
That is I mean that is something very true. I think like if you love it, then why aren't you just gonna keep doing it and you can keep the gains? And watching you really makes me very hopeful for the future because, in all honesty, I want to be like you when I'm old. I want to be jacked. I want to be painting vaginas. I want to be doing all this cool stuff. Um, and so kind of going into the pull up. So one of the craziest things I think you do is when you do your year end like 2020 pull ups in a day. What kind of started that tradition, and like how do you keep the motivation to do it year and year? Because I see pictures of your hands ripped up. I can't imagine how your lats must feel. Like, how do you have the mental fortitude to tackle that every year?
Um, Again, it's just like what we were sort of discussing earlier. I mean, like I enjoy training, but um, I guess there's that, where the whole mastery component. Instead, like, I mean, I'm not doing the pull ups to try and get a bigger back or whatever. Not any,
Yeah.
I'm just doing it just to challenge myself. I'm curious. Like, my goal right now is to do 2,000 pull-ups 10 times. I've done it 5 times. I failed once. And yeah, but I'd like to be able to do it 10 times, right? Like just
That's incredible.
yeah. I mean, like one of my friends who's done it with me, he was trying to convince me to go for the world record, like 4,000 or something like that in 24 hours. And I mean, I really have no interest in. I don't know if I could do it, probably not, but I have no interest in going for trying to beat someone else's record. Just my own.
Yeah.
So, and you know, yeah, I'm not motivated by that. And like right now, like if I go for 4,000 or something like that, then I'm more likely to get injured. Like I'd rather try to just maintain like 2,000 for as many years as I can. Now, I mean, yeah. I started in 2013 was the first time. That's because I had the back cave, so I had access to the gym. I figured it was gonna take me a long time. So, but yeah, I was able to do it in seven. It took 7 hours and 13 minutes the first time I tried it.
That's a
2013.
that's a that's almost 300 an hour. And where we've tried to do max pull-ups an hour, my best is 200. So my pace in an hour can catch you in 7.
Oh,
That's incredible,
no,
Kane.
but a lot of it is the way you have to pace yourself.
Yeah.
It's the way you break it up. Don't go to failure at all. Like break it down to. So what I do is like now my usual, like even when I work out, when I do pull-ups, I do every minute on the minute for all my workouts actually.
Yeah.
Do it that
Yeah.
way with 1 minute intervals and with a pull-up. So like today, I just did like 7 sets of 8, and so that'll take like 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I was only supposed to do actually 6 sets of 8, but I was high and I got a lot. So yeah,
It's okay. Trainers count worse without being high, so I think you're fine.
but
Kane actually learned that from you. The whole pacing yourself and pull-ups. Like Anwar, you've probably like heard me talk about like when you do pull-ups, when you go to failure once, you're screwed for the rest of the
Yeah.
workout. So
yeah,
I use that with all my clients nowadays. I didn't learn that from school or nothing. That was all you.
the only time you like you could take things to failure. Even like with my workouts, like uh, maybe just on the last set I would do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now yeah, my approach with training has definitely changed more recently.
Do you mind going a little more into that because you have been training so long? Like, what kind of have you been? What's changed? What's been like the early way of training, and how do you train now? Like, what have you learned in all these years?
Um, well, right now, like I'm not as I'm content where I am. Like, I'm not trying to get bigger anymore. Uh, I used to maybe even up to like 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Uh, Usually, I would be around 175 to 178 most of the year, uh, and then maybe I would try to bulk up. The heaviest I've ever been is like 188 for like 1 month. It's always been difficult for me to eat in a surplus, and yeah, so part of the year I'll be about in the 180s, but most of the year usually around 175 to 178, and then for like photo shoots I would get down to 170. Right now I'm 165, and I probably have to get to 160, so 10 pounds, you know, lighter nowadays. But yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that actually. Too. You know, my only like sort of like doubt about it is like you want to maintain as much lean mass because as you get older, you know uh, you're more likely to lose it. So, but I've joked that when I turn 60, I'm gonna jump on a like bodybuilding steroid cycle. I'm considering, like go for broke and then see. It would be cute. It would be cool if at 60 on steroids I'd be in better shape than at 40 Natty. That would be curious, like in the same body. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
the same person. So that would be. I mean, what would be your? What do you think? Like, what would be the result? Like, do you think I? I mean, there's a lot of factors. I mean, uh, like I said, like at 40 years old, maybe 170 lean was like for a photo shoot. For what I mean? Uh, that's where I was. But yeah, I mean, what do you think?
Um, I want to give my take on this, and I'd love to see. I'm looking back on this podcast and in a bunch of years when you're 60 to see, but because I think unlike someone who's never trained, you've trained all your life, so you have the for lack of a more fancy term, muscle memory in your muscle cells that
Yeah,
you've been that big. Yeah,
but would it?
I,
But does that? I mean, there'd be a like change in muscle fiber, right? Like
yeah,
into slow twitch. So like I've noticed even as I got older, like even in the span of like a few years, um, a change in the shape of the
Mm.
like my arms or whatever. Like
of the muscle.
yeah, it's become more stringy or whatever. You know what I mean? Like not as full even at the thing, same
Right.
level of body composition, but yeah, just something uh, I've noticed for myself, like but
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. I think my guess, and I hope I'm right, I think you're going to get back to your 170, 175 of lean muscle mass. I definitely think, especially with steroids, you might even pass it. I don't think you're going to look the exact same as you did, but you're going to have that old man Logan look and you're going to look awesome.
so,
Yeah.
that's the fun. Like um, 60 or 63. All right. You know, I don't. Okay, one reason why uh, if it wasn't for painting, I would have probably jumped on right now. Or by 55, if it wasn't for the painting. But you know, I don't want to. I want to focus just mostly on the paint, maintain. Like I still have my pull-up goals. But I don't want to be trying to get bigger or put too much. So yeah, I mean, I just want to focus on painting vaginas. So uh, jumping on steroids, I feel like I need to at least push myself
Yeah.
or like
Yeah.
give it enough time, like commit to putting on size. If I'm gonna jump on, then yeah, there has to be at least like some kind of effort on my part.
Yeah.
Yes,
No, that's a really interesting whole scenario. I'm wondering, are you familiar with Pete Rubish?
I know.
He was like a powerlifter guy, and he was very open about steroid use and all that about 5-10 years ago. And he recently got off of it, and he's trying to be natural again. And one thing he was saying is that he kind of wished he waited longer before jumping on juice, because like your previously natty state kind of gives a sense of what your potential steroid look will be, and he felt like he jumped on the juice too early. So it'd be very interesting to see someone like you who's been a natty for so long to go into it in your 60s. What's going to be that reaction of all that natural muscle?
Would I be able to surpass? You know what I mean? I'm curious. So again, there's a lot of factors. Like, what if? Yeah, like, yeah. I mean, I am like curious about that. I live. Like, it gives me something to live for. Like, when I get older. But like I said, you know, for the next while, I just really just want to focus more on the painting aspect.
Yeah, I mean, well, I would love to know a little more about the painting as well. Like, it seems like something you're super passionate about, and you've actually were mentioning during the pandemic you sold more paintings than you've ever done before. And I'm kind of
Yeah.
curious, what's been like your favorite painting? Like, which one was the hardest to sell, or which one do you not even sell? Like, what's the best one you've done?
Oh, I don't try to sell them. I just like put it up. Like, I don't even try. My niece handles everything for me because like I'm an idiot, and I'm like, oh, uh, but I mean, I painted more since this lockdown, March 2020, than I have in the past 25 years. You know, and what, I mean, you asked me like what, when I was like pretty depressed, it's what got me into painting again. The first thing I painted was Wolverine. It was a cover by Frank Miller,
Yeah.
uh, where he's sitting in the shadows, like almost looking dejected.
Yeah.
My niece has it at her place, but yeah, um, I painted like Logan maybe 4 or 5 times. Like, I love the movie with Old Man Logan, right? That was awesome. So yeah, I guess him being old and that resonated with me. So yeah, uh, I painted them maybe like 5 times. I sold two of them. Yeah.
Wow.
Huge. So you've painted a bunch of Logan, and I mean we were gonna ask you this at the end, but I feel like it's going right into it. I think for a long time you've shown that you're quite into the comic book lore. You named your home studio the Bat Cave. You painted Logan, and among other characters, I saw Punisher, I saw Batman, I saw both iterations of the Joker in the movie, among others. What got you into comic books? What impact has that had on your career, your fitness, even your painting, and like kind of your psyche?
Oh man, yeah. I've been a comic geek since like I think that was like everyone in my family reads comics. My
Oh,
I have an aunt that reads comics. Like my mom was like, yeah, my mom would tell us about all my brothers. We all still read comics. Like we've got maybe 20,000 comics, and like in my brother's basement, we all put it all together. We all had our separate collections. Yeah, I was like a big comic geek. I mean, I wanted to be a comic book artist in the mid '90s.
okay.
Trying to be, but I actually, not that I can prove it, but it doesn't matter. But one guy who reached out to me he was the editor of Penthouse Comics. Penthouse had an adult comic line, where, yeah, and even then, that's all I like drawing, like nude women or whatever, like nude superheroes or whatever. Like these stories where, the women would always somehow get their clothes off or whatever. It was just, but yeah, he was interested, but it didn't go anywhere, and he ended up. I think he killed himself.
Oh
But
wow.
yeah, the whole comic line went bust. But yeah, in the '90s, I used to like go from convention to convention, like showing samples, trying to be yeah. But I sucked because I mean, a lot of the top artists like they could draw like maybe at least like a few pages a day. It would take me like a week or like 2 or 3 days to do each page. Yeah, I was too slow. So. But yeah, I was
I see.
pursuing that in the '90s, and yeah, that's why all these. I know like they're criticized a lot. I'm loving the fact that they with CGI they can do all these movies. Like yeah, like it's like a comic geek's wet dream, right? I mean, seriously.
Oh man, I know Pat, you're a big fan of them as well. Kind of curious, what's your favorite comic, a storyline, or like which one do you think impacted you the most? You mentioned you really like the Logan movie, but is there any other one that you really love?
Um, and I used to in my family, like so. I said I have 4 siblings, and we had a rule like you can't collect the same thing that someone else collects. Like, and my oldest brother, he was collecting all the best stuff. Like he was collecting X-Men. This when Chris Claremont and John Byrne were on it. He was collecting Teen Titans, George Perez, Mark Wolfman. Uh, like he had all the top choices, and then yeah, I think I was collecting Thor at the time, because my younger brother was collecting Hulk. Uh, but yeah, my sister, she was collecting Conan, right?
What?
Whoa.
Yeah, everyone in my family. That's why now, like I said, we have at least 20,000. We put all our collection, all our collections together and like left it with my brother. But yeah, what are we talking about?
That was great insight.
There's a brain
The original question was besides Logan, which superhero, either specific story or which character has resonated with you the most throughout the years?
You mean the movies or?
Movies, comic books, individual stories, anything.
There's a,
Your choice.
like I've had like back in like 91, 92. uh I created a list of my top 10 or top 20 comic books, and it's mostly like it was mostly art driven. You know what I mean? Like uh not story driven, like specific artists that I like their best. It was an example of their best work, and
Right.
yeah. uh it took a couple of years to collect them, and when I finally got them, uh, I remember like living with my and now ex-girlfriend, like with my girlfriend, and her place caught fire, and the place caught fire, and so we were supposed to evacuate the building, and so we're leaving, and then I remember my top 20 comic books are there, so I run back, get it, and then we leave, and she lost everything. And yeah, I don't think she ever forgave me for only saving my comic books. I don't regret it. I still have those comic books. So, yeah.
Oh man.
Priorities, right?
Yeah.
Which one's number one? What's number one on the list?
There's no number one. Like it was just like a bunch of
Okay.
collections, the different artists. I was a big fan of Adam Hughes, Mark Texeira, Garcia Lopez. There's like a few Punishers drawn by Mark Texeira, because like he had like a very painterly type style. Uh,
Hmm.
but yeah, it was yeah. She never forgave me for that. It was interesting.
Well,
No regret.
that's why she's an ex, and the comics are still there.
Exactly. Exactly.
um, I'm kind of thinking about it. Comic books make a lot of sense for you since comic books are a lot of people's motivations for getting into lifting. You see Superman, you see Batman, you see Hulk, you see all these super jacked guys, and also just how artistic it is. Like comics, like they really are a form of art and a painting in a sense. So like it kind of really seems your love for painting and working out. It seems comics are the perfect middle ground.
Oh, total. I mean, I had one comic book, Master of Kung Fu. Shang-Chi that just came out. That's coming
Yeah.
out. Uh,
Yeah, it's coming out next week.
but Master of Kung Fu number 39, which was drawn by Paul Galassi, one of my favorite artists. And I follow him on Instagram or his stuff. But he had a drawing of introducing Cat, the cat character, another martial artist. And there was one scene where they were just showing his torso, and I was like, yeah, I want to look like that. And then there's like panels in the thing where in 2009 I did a photo shoot for Controlled Labs, and in some of the pictures, I'd have to I'll send it to you through DM. Like it looks exact. It was just pretty fucking cool. Maybe unconsciously I wanted to pose that way or whatever. It looked like scenes from the panel that I'm talking about, right? But yeah, so definitely a big influence. Was it 1980 or 84? Marvel came out with the Marvel Handbook, the Marvel Universe, where they would show the height and weight of each character. So I was looking for characters that were about 5'10". I think Spider-Man was supposed to be 165 at 5'10". I think he looks scrawnier personally, but I was I was comparing myself and then looking at the Shang-Chi was I think 5'10" and 175 pounds. Onfest was 5'11". I memorized all these things, I mean, just because I was obsessed with it. In late 90s, early 2000s, I was moderator on this forum where we would argue, like, who would win between Superman and Thor or whatever.
Love it. We've done it before.
We always I spent years. I spent 10 years being a moderator there, and I spending way too much time just because I was considered a Thor fan, not a fanboy because I was pretty realistic, But yeah, so it was just comics have still played a big influence, I'm still geeking out.
Man, I love to hear that. I know Pat and we've had similar conversations about comic characters or anime characters and stuff like that about who would win in a fight.
Oh, yeah. Shit, man. I was but between 30 and 40 years old, yeah, I think most of my brain cells got wasted, remembering these stupid facts of I was I can still remember, and maybe I'll have to check later. Okay, Thor 280. That's where they had Immortus, where he survived a neutron bomb, a gravity bomb, supposedly equivalent to a neutron star. That's one of the scenes that you use for durability. Why he wouldn't get hurt by Superman's punch or something. You know what I mean? You know how heavy a neutron star is. Those kind of arguments. But yeah.
Well, actually, I want to ask you a question, Kane. So, I can't remember which issue it was, but in one of the Batman comics, there's an image of him doing a 600-pound bench press for like 50 plus reps with his legs in the air. And I'm like, yo, Batman is on some super PEDs. Like, he is not your everyday man. He is like on the greatest PEDs of all time.
I think the problem is that a lot of these guys, I wonder, like, no, I'm sure there's more comic book writers that actually work out, but yeah, I saw someone wrote, there's like the Batman workout.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever saw it online, and it was going with art by Alex Ross, right? And he was like, yeah, there's dumb parts about it. Like, he was like doing crunches. Like, why the fuck would Batman do crunches? You know what I mean? Like, not simple enough, I mean, but yeah, there's I had issues with that.
Yeah, especially like you see Batman fighting like Darkseid and stuff. It's like, dude, there's no way that like a normal guy can do this.
that would be a good thing to, since you're a trainer, what kind of, if you had to write it, what kind of program do you think Batman should be doing? That'd be a good one for any superhero.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of training? Like, yeah. I mean, you shouldn't be training for aesthetics, that's for sure. So,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, that'd be pretty. That'd be a pretty good thing to argue about, eh?
Yeah, like, yeah, what would Batman's work? I kind of feel like he'd do like a strongman workout, like just a bunch of like moving random shit around and just being very functionally strong.
I think parkour would have to be part of it.
Are you saying he's doing CrossFit?
No, not CrossFit. No, man, no.
You know how funny that'd be?
Oh man, no, that's. I'm gonna think about this. I'm gonna have to sleep on this, and I might have to message you later to discuss it.
Yeah. Let's have a group DM and discuss the Batman program. Would be like how much cardio does he do? Remember, because he still has to go. So you have to, I guess, say at the beginning of his career, or right now. Like, I mean, he still has to go on patrol every night, so he doesn't. Man, swinging, how much rotator work does he do, or like, soft tissue work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alfred's actually secretly a massage therapist, physical therapist, medical doctor. I mean, there's no other way he survived all these years. He should be dead.
My girlfriend is a registered massage therapist.
Oh, nice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. No, it isn't. I mean, have you seen that Seinfeld episode where he was dating one, and she doesn't want to give him a massage because she's working all day.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty much like that. But if I have any like issues, like she usually knows what to treat. Like my rotators, I get a lot of issues.
Yeah, and she'll send you to someone else. She'll be like, I ain't doing this. You aren't paying me enough. You go somewhere else.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, man. Kane, we're getting up to the hour, but there's one thing I wanted to ask about. So, one of my favorite videos of yours is actually you with your niece and nephews. I think both Pat and I were around your nephew's age. So I remember watching like some videos when he would be like a teenager and you'd be giving him advice about lifting, girls, all of that stuff. And like I was imagining like, man, you could be like my cool uncle telling me all this cool stuff. And it's great. And you have a lot of wisdom. I want to say for all of our listeners, what's kind of like your big piece of advice? What is your wisdom you'd want to give to all of our listeners? I think our average age is like mid-20s, early 30s. What's kind of like the key part of your good old Timbahwolf wisdom to pass on?
No, I mean, my nephew right now, who I went to Vancouver with, it's pretty cool. Like, he's 23. Even by the time he was 20, his best deadlift and best squat was already better than mine. You
Oh
know,
wow.
so and like right now, he was the one who actually introduced me to meditation. Sam Harris Waking Up app. He deals with depression as well, and I remember being concerned about him because like we were having a discussion, and he was like really upset.
Mhm.
And then 6 weeks later, when I saw him, like night and day, and was saying that he started meditating, so that got me into it. So yeah, that's been a daily thing, and that's I know it's a weird kind of thing, but yeah, I think could really make a big difference for people. Like meditation, uh, having a dog. I'm just thinking three top three advice. I mean, uh, but yeah, I guess something has to be related to fitness. I mean, but you know, um, with this whole vaccine thing, I'm going there, but you know, uh, I'm not vaccinated right now. I'm planning to get it, but like I got COVID back in May, and it was
Mhm.
bad. I was like kicking myself in the head. Why didn't I get the vaccine already? For my age, I could have gotten it like beginning of April. But yeah, that's the one thing I do. Like right now, like people are talking about like they're upset about their freedom being taken away that if it becomes mandatory, right? And I am not for it becoming mandatory. I'm against it being like putting the numbers up. It just makes sense to get the vaccine instead of as compared to the so-called side effects for
Yeah.
me. But
Yep.
that said, I'm still against it being mandatory. But when people are talking about freedom, you know, uh, but then and I'm seeing like at times like all these. I'm gonna sound like an ass, but fuck it. But people that are out of shape talking about freedom, demanding freedom, and you know, I can't take them seriously because, like, I mean, from my own standpoint, don't be a prisoner in your own body. That's one reason to
Mhm.
work out, to train. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like they don't know, like, they don't really love freedom if they're out of shape. Does that make sense?
Oh
Mm.
man, that is there's the rhythm. Ooh.
Yeah, no, dude, that actually that's a thinking man statement, man. That's something I have to ponder more about. Like, are you free if you can't truly move your body around, like, and experience?
You don't want to be a prisoner in your own body,
Yeah,
like, yeah. So that's one motivation, I enjoy my freedom, that freedom.
man. Yeah, dude, that's a really good statement. That's something I'm gonna have to think about. I might have to smoke a bowl and start pondering more on that.
I hope that answered your question, though. I guess. Uh,
Oh, yeah, no, dude, definitely, definitely. And again, really appreciate all of this. No, again, I think even though you might not have a formal education, you have some true wisdom, something that you can't be taught in any lectures or schools or anything like that.
thanks, man. I appreciate it. But
All
remember,
right.
I'm a pothead and an idiot. So,
Oh man. Well, we're coming up to the hour, so any last things you want to say? Any last comment you want to make or anything?
no, nothing comes to mind.
Yep.
Uh,
Timbahwolf, where can people find you? Should they want to follow your journey, which they should.
Uh, Just on Instagram, Timbahwolf account. Yeah. Like
Yeah, well, be sure.
I have an art account, but it's private. Like so, because I keep getting flagged for all the vagina paintings.
You have a website though, right?
I'm printing out one of the vagina paintings, so yeah, I'll discuss it with you guys after. Like, if you guys, I want it. I really want the vagina painting to go viral in a way. I want it to be accepted. You know, just as
Dude,
just as a challenge to see if I can do it. Like, yeah, that would be a change in society if you think about it. Like, if I could get a vagina painting, like, the independent woman, you know, if I could ever get that in a guy, like, I'm not saying this. When I get better, I'll keep improving it. But to get that kind of painting, that would be a sort of change in the perception of society. Don't you think?
no, I completely agree, and I have to say, like, your paintings are incredibly tasteful. Like, it's not lewd or anything. Like, they're very tasteful paintings too. Like, I think if you were going for the raunchiness, you missed it. Like, I would say your paintings really are art.
But thank you. Thanks.
All right, Pat, you want to close us off today?
Awesome. Well, Timbahwolf Kane, thank you so much for your time, and we can't wait for your paintings to make it big. If there's any way for us to help you share your work, we're definitely gonna do that for you. And to finish off today, as usual, listeners, if you're watching us on YouTube, remember to subscribe to us. If you're listening to us on Spotify, click that notification bell, and absolutely don't forget to follow Kane. I think that ends off this week of Natty News. Thank you so much, and Natty News out.
Natty News out.